Story outline. The Alien Mother's Plea. Part 1. The Desperate Encounter Characters. Marcus, human engineer. Zelena, alien mother. Keto, her dying child Marcus, discovers a crashed alien ship while exploring distant planet. Kepler, 442b. Zelena, a blue-skinned humanoid alien, desperately pleads for help to save her child. Keto suffers from radiation poisoning from their damaged ship's core. Marcus overcomes initial fear and decides to help despite communication barriers. Part 2. Breaking through barriers. Marcus uses his engineering skills to create a translation device. Zelena shares her tragic story of fleeing from galactic war. Growing trust and connection between Marcus and Zelena first. Romantic tension as they work together to understand Keto's condition. Marcus realizes human medical knowledge might save the child. Part 3. The healing bond. Marcus adapts human medical techniques for alien physiology. Intimate moments of care as Marcus and Zelena tend to Keto together. Zelena reveals her species' ability to share emotions through touch. Romantic connection deepens as they share a moment of vulnerability. Keto begins showing signs of recovery. Part 4. Love across stars. Marcus and Zelena's relationship blossoms into deep romance. They must face the reality that her people will come looking for her. Passionate moments as they realize their time together is limited. Keto fully recovers and bonds with Marcus as a father figure. Zelena must choose between her duty to her species and her love for Marcus. Part 5. A new beginning. Zelena's rescue ship arrives, creating tension and difficult choices. Marcus proves his worth to Zelena's people by saving other injured aliens. Final romantic climax as Marcus decides to leave Earth and join Zelena. They become ambassadors for human-alien cooperation, ending with their new family traveling the stars together. Complete story. Part 1. The desperate encounter. Marcus wiped sweat from his brow as the scorching twin suns of Kepler 44 to be beat down on his exploration suit. The mining survey had taken him far from base camp, but the mineral readings on his scanner were worth the trek. He had been searching for rare earth elements for 3 months now, always hoping for the discovery that would change everything. The distress beacon changed everything instead. Its weak signal barely registered on his equipment, coming from beyond a ridge of crystalline formations that jutted from the planet's surface like frozen lightning. Marcus hesitated, checking his oxygen levels and the distance back to camp. Protocol demanded he report any anomalies to command first, but the signal was fading fast. Curiosity won over caution. Climbing. The ridge revealed a sight that made his heart race with terror and wonder. A sleek vessel, unlike any human technology, lay partially buried in the alien soil. Its hull bore scorch marks and deep gouges, clearly the victim of a violent crash. Strange blue light pulsed weakly from within its transparent sections as Marcus approached cautiously. A section of the ship's hull dissolved like liquid mercury. From the opening emerged a figure that stopped him in his tracks. She was humanoid but unmistakably alien, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the harsh sunlight. Her eyes were larger than human eyes, deep violet that held desperate intelligence. "Please," she spoke in accented but clear English, her voice melodic despite the obvious distress. "My child is dying." Marcus's hand moved instinctively to his sidearm, but something in her posture, the way she held herself, spoke of desperation rather than threat. She gestured frantically toward the ship's interior, against every regulation and survival instinct. Marcus followed her inside. The ship's interior was a marvel of organic-looking technology. Walls that curved like living tissue and controls that responded to touch with gentle luminescence. But his wonder turned to horror at what he saw in the center chamber. A smaller figure, clearly a child, lay motionless on what appeared to be a medical platform. The young alien's breathing was labored, skin flickering between normal blue and a sickly gray color. Strange patterns of light moved beneath the skin like diseased circuits. "Radiation," the mother explained, her four-fingered hands hovering helplessly over her child. "Our core was damaged in the attack. I tried to shield him, but ... double quotes, her voice broke. and Marcus saw tears that looked remarkably human sliding down her alien features. She looked at him with those violet eyes, and in that moment, species barriers meant nothing. This was a mother watching her child die, and she was asking him, a stranger from another world, to somehow perform a miracle. Marcus knelt beside the child, his scanner detecting dangerous levels of exotic radiation that his suit systems couldn't even identify. He looked up at the mother, seeing hope and desperation warring in her expression. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Zelina," she whispered. "My son is Keto." "I'm Marcus," he replied, already running calculations in his head. "And I'm going to help you save him." Breaking through barriers, Marcus spent the first hour frantically adapting his geological scanner to analyze Keto's condition more precisely. The readings were unlike anything in his database, but patterns began to emerge. The radiation poisoning was attacking the child's cellular structure in a way that seemed almost systematic. "Your people," Marcus said carefully as he worked. "What do you know about human medicine?" Zelina watched him with intense focus, occasionally offering observations about her son's symptoms. "We studied your broadcasts before the war. Crude but effective techniques. But Keto's biology, ... double quotes." She gestured helplessly. Marcus noticed how she moved with unconscious grace, even in distress. When their hands accidentally touched while adjusting the scanner, he felt a strange, tingling sensation that seemed to calm his nerves. Zelina pulled back quickly, a flush of deeper blue coloring her cheeks. "Your species," she said quietly. "You have such warm energy. I can feel it." "Feel it?" Marcus asked, pausing in his work. "Emotional resonance," Zelina explained, her voice barely above a whisper. "My people sense feelings through physical contact. Your determination, your care for a child you don't even know, it's overwhelming." Marcus met her eyes, seeing vulnerability there that had nothing to do with her son's condition. "Where I come from, we help each other. Species doesn't matter when a child is suffering." Over the next several hours, they worked together to understand Keto's physiology. Marcus jury-rigged a translation matrix using his suit's computer and the ship's systems, allowing for more complex communication. As the language barriers fell away, Zelina began sharing her story. Her people. The Threnody had been caught in a devastating war between two galactic powers. Her ship had been fleeing a refugee convoy when pirates attacked, damaging their core drive. She had been traveling to a supposed sanctuary world when the radiation leak began, affecting Keto. "I had heard rumors of humans," she said, as they analyzed cellular samples, "a young species that showed promise. Some said you were too primitive to matter. Others whispered that you had qualities the older races had forgotten." "What qualities?" Marcus asked, adjusting his improvised medical equipment. Zelina looked at him with those remarkable eyes.
"Hope."
The willingness to risk everything for a stranger. Passion. The last word carried weight, and Marcus felt heat rising in his chest. As night fell on the alien world, Keto's condition stabilized slightly. Marcus had managed to create a crude but functional radiation scrubber using materials from both their technologies. The child's breathing grew less labored, and some color returned to his skin. "You did this," Zelina said, her hand brushing Marcus's arm. The contact sent that strange tingling through him again, but this time she didn't pull away. "You saved my son?" "We're not done yet," Marcus replied, though he couldn't ignore the way her touch seemed to complete some circuit in his mind. "But he's going to make it." Zelina's tears came freely now, tears of relief and something deeper. "I felt your determination through our connection. The strength of your will. No Threnody male would have risked so much for strangers." Marcus turned to face her fully, seeing her not as an alien creature, but as a woman who had nearly lost everything and found hope in the most unlikely place. "Then maybe our species have more to learn from each other than just medicine." Their eyes met in the soft bioluminescence of the ship, and Marcus felt the universe shift around them. 3 days passed as Marcus refined his treatment for Keto. The improvised medical bay had become their shared world, a place where human ingenuity merged with Threnody biotechnology. Every breakthrough brought them physically closer. Working side by side in the cramped space, Zelina proved to be brilliant in her own right, understanding the theoretical aspects of Marcus's treatments faster than any human colleague ever had. When he explained cellular regeneration therapy, her mind made connections he hadn't considered. When she described Threnody healing techniques, Marcus found ways to adapt them using human principles. Your people's medicine focuses on fighting the damage, Zelina observed, as they calibrated the radiation scrubber for another treatment session. Ours seeks to restore harmony. Together, they create something new. Keto had been awake for the past day, weak, but alert. The young Threnody watched Marcus with curious eyes that reminded him of his sister's children back on Earth. Despite the language barriers, they had developed their own form of communication through gestures and simple words. He likes you, Zelina said, smiling as Keto managed to sit up with Marcus's help. 3A children are usually afraid of strangers, but you have a gentle energy. Marcus felt the familiar tingling when Zelina touched his hand. But now it carried more than just emotional resonance. There was something electric, almost intimate about the connection. Is this normal for your people? This feeling when we touch? Zelina's cheeks flushed deeper blue. No, she admitted quietly. This is something I have never experienced. Among my people, emotional resonance is common. But this intensity, TOD, she trailed off, her large eyes fixed on his face. That evening, as Keto slept peacefully for the first time since Marcus's arrival, they found themselves sitting together in the ship's observation area, through the transparent walls. Twin moons cast silver light across the crystalline landscape. Tell me about your world, Zelina said softly, her shoulder barely touching his as they sat side by side. Marcus described Earth. The blue oceans and green continents, the diversity of life and human culture. As he spoke, Zelina's hand found his, and through their connection, felt her wonder at his memories. And you left all of that to come here, to this empty world? She asked. Someone has to push the boundaries, Marcus replied. Humans have always been explorers. We look at the unknown and see possibility instead of danger. Even when the unknown is me, Zelina asked, her voice barely a whisper. Marcus turned to face her, seeing the starlight reflected in her violet eyes. Especially then, their first kiss was tentative. An exploration across species lines that shouldn't have worked but felt more natural than breathing. Zelina's lips were softer than human lips, and the emotional resonance of their contact sent waves of sensation through both of them. When they broke apart, Zelina was trembling. I can feel everything you feel, she whispered. Your desire, your care for Keto, your longing for connection. It's beautiful and terrifying. What do you feel for me? Marcus asked, his hands framing her face. Instead of answering with words, Zelina kissed him again, deeper this time, letting their connection speak for itself. Marcus felt her emotions flooding through the bond. Desire and gratitude and something deeper. A recognition that transcended species. They held each other through the night, sharing warmth and comfort in the alien vessel. Keto slept peacefully nearby, his recovery accelerating under the combined influence of human medicine and the emotional healing that surrounded him. When morning came, Marcus woke to find Zelina watching him with an expression of wonder and conflict. My people will come looking for me, she said quietly. When they find us, we'll face that together, Marcus replied, pulling her closer. All three of us. But even as he spoke the words, he wondered if love could truly bridge the gap between worlds. Love across stars 5 days after their first kiss. The long-range sensors detected 3 ships, approaching Kepler 44b. Zelina's expression shifted between hope and terror as she confirmed the signature's 380 rescue vessels, she said, her hands shaking as she operated the ship's communication array. They found my distress beacon. Marcus felt his heart sink even as he watched. Keto played with a simple toy he'd fashioned from mining equipment. The child had recovered completely, his skin restored to healthy blue, its energy returning in waves of curiosity about everything Marcus did. What will they think of me being here? Marcus asked, though he suspected he already knew the answer. Zelina's silence was answer enough. She moved to the communication panel, but Marcus caught her hand before she could activate it. "Wait," he said, pulling her into his arms. "Before they arrive, before everything changes, I need you to know something." She looked up at him with those remarkable violet eyes. And through their connection, he felt her fear and love warring within her. "I love you," he said simply. "Not just the exotic nature of what we are together, not just the adventure or the impossibility of it. I love who you are, how your mind works, the way you touch my hand when you're thinking. How fiercely you protect Keto." Tears slipped down Zelina's cheeks as she felt the truth of his words through their bond. "And I love you," she whispered back. "Your courage, your refusal to give up, the way you see possibilities where others see only problems. You saved my son, but more than that, you showed me that love doesn't require understanding, only acceptance." Their lovemaking that night was desperate and tender, a claiming of each other before the universe could pull them apart. In the soft bioluminescence of the ship, Marcus explored every inch of Zelina's alien beauty while she showed him how Threnody expressed passion through both physical touch and emotional resonance. She guided his hands to the sensitive ridges along her collarbone that pulsed with light when touched. He discovered that her skin grew warm and luminescent when aroused, creating patterns of beauty across her body like living art. "I can feel everything you feel," she gasped as they moved together. "Your desire, your love, your fear of losing me. It's like experiencing passion from both perspectives at once." Marcus lost himself in the connection, feeling not just his own pleasure, but hers reflected back through their bond, creating spirals of sensation that left them both trembling and complete. Afterward, they lay entwined while Keto slept nearby, both knowing their time was running out. "Come with me," Zelina whispered against his chest. "When my people arrive, tell them you want to come with us. We could explore the galaxy together, you and Keto and me." "What about the war?" Marcus asked. "Would they accept a human among refugees?" Zelina was quiet for a long moment. "Some Threnody believe humans might be the key to ending the conflict. Your people's ability to adapt, to find solutions others miss, to bring hope where there was none before. If you proved yourself to them..." ... Double quotes. The next morning, the rescue ships landed in a formation that spoke of military precision. Marcus watched through the observation ports as armored Threnody soldiers emerged, their weapons ready, despite approaching a supposedly friendly vessel. "They're cautious," Zelina explained, nervous tension radiating through their bond. "Too many refugee ships have been traps." The lead soldier was a female Threnody with intricate scarification, marking her rank. When she saw Marcus standing beside Zelina, her weapon immediately trained on him. "You brought a primitive aboard our vessel?" she demanded in accented English. Clearly having learned the language from intercepted transmissions, "He saved Keto's life," Zelina replied firmly, stepping partially in front of Marcus. "Without his help, my son would be dead." The soldier's eyes narrowed as she studied Marcus, clearly trying to reconcile his primitive human appearance with his presence on an advanced Threnody ship. "Prove it," she said finally. Marcus stepped forward, ignoring the weapons trained on him, and activated the medical scanner he'd built. "Your people in the third ship, the one listing to starboard, you have radiation casualties from drive damage, don't you?" The soldier's expression shifted to surprise. Her people's ability to sense emotions through touch meant lies were nearly impossible, but Marcus radiated only confidence and concern. "How could you know that?" she asked. Marcus smiled. "Because that's what humans do. We see problems, and we solve them. Let me help your people. I'll show you what Zelina already knows." As he gathered his improvised medical equipment, Marcus felt Zelina's hand slip into his, their connection pulsing with love and hope. The wounded Threnody and the damaged ship were in worse condition than Keto had been. 3 adults suffering from exotic radiation poisoning, their skin flickering gray, while their life signs weakened by the hour. The ship's medical officer stood helplessly by, her people's healing techniques inadequate for this type of damage. Marcus worked without pause, adapting his treatment protocols for multiple patients, while explaining his methods to the fascinated Threnody medics. Within hours, the first patient showed improvement. By the end of the day, all three were stable and beginning to recover. "Impossible," breathed the medical officer, an elderly Threnody named Vorth. "Our healing techniques have remained unchanged for millennia. How does a primitive species develop such effective methods?" "We're not primitive," Marcus replied calmly, checking readings on his jury-rigged equipment. "We're just different. Your people seek harmony, which is beautiful and wise. Humans fight. We're stubborn and refuse to accept that problems can't be solved." Commander Settle, the scarred soldier who had first confronted him, watched Marcus's work with growing interest. Through Zelina's translation, Marcus learned that Settle had lost her own mate and child to the war, and seeing Cato healthy and happy stirred something in her. "You're bonding with Zelina," Settle said bluntly during a rest break. "My people can sense it. Such intensity across species lines. It should be impossible." "Love doesn't ask permission," Marcus replied, finding Zelina's hand automatically. "It just happens." Settle studied their joined hands, noting how Zelina's skin glowed faintly where Marcus touched her. "The War Council has been seeking new approaches to end the conflict. Both sides are exhausted, but pride prevents surrender. Perhaps an outside perspective?" Over the next 3 days, as more Threnody arrived to witness Marcus's medical innovations, a different conversation began. Zelina translated as military leaders, scientists, and diplomats debated humanity's potential role in their galactic conflict. "They're afraid," Zelina explained privately to Marcus. "Afraid that accepting help from humans means admitting their advanced civilization has failed where a young species might succeed." "Fear I understand," Marcus replied. Watching Cato play with Threnody children who had arrived on the rescue ships, but hope is stronger. The breakthrough came when Marcus proposed something radical. Instead of trying to end the war through traditional diplomacy or military action, why not seed the galaxy with human Threnody partnerships? Joint exploration teams, medical missions, research collaborations that would slowly demonstrate that cooperation yielded better results than conflict. "You would leave your world permanently?" Commander Settle asked during the formal presentation. "Abandon your species to live among strangers?" Marcus looked at Zelina, feeling their emotional connection pulse with love and shared purpose. "I wouldn't be abandoning anything. I'd be building something new. And I wouldn't be the only one. Humans have always been explorers. Give us ships, give us partners like Zelina. We'll show the galaxy what's possible when different perspectives work together." That night, as the Threnody leadership debated his proposal, Marcus and Zelina stood together under the alien stars, with Cato sleeping peacefully nearby. The child had begun calling Marcus Papa in Threnody, a word that made Marcus's chest tight with unexpected emotion. "Are you certain about this?" Zelina asked, her hand warm in his. "Leaving everything you've ever known?" Marcus smiled, pulling her closer. "I'm not leaving anything behind. I'm gaining everything that matters. A family, a purpose, and the woman I love." Their kiss was interrupted by Cato's sleepy voice asking for water. As Marcus tended to the child with practiced ease, Zelina watched with eyes full of wonder and love. 3 months later, the first human Threnody exploration vessel launched from the refugee fleet's mobile shipyard. Marcus stood on the bridge beside Zelina, both wearing the blue and silver uniforms of the new Galactic Cooperation Initiative. Cato, now healthy and bilingual, pointed excitedly at the stars visible through the viewport. "Where shall we go first?" Zelina asked, her hand finding his as naturally as breathing. Marcus looked at the star charts, then at his alien wife and adopted son, feeling the weight and wonder of unlimited possibilities stretching ahead of them. "Everywhere," he said simply. "We'll go everywhere," as their ship engaged its hybrid human Threnody drive system. Marcus reflected on how a simple mining survey had led to the most important discovery of his life. Not rare minerals or alien technology, but the truth that love and hope could bridge any gap. Even the vast distances between stars, behind them, more ships were being constructed, each one crewed by human Threnody partnerships eager to explore the galaxy together. The war that had torn civilizations apart was slowly being replaced by something better. Something built on understanding rather than conquest. Zelena squeezed his hand as they entered hyperspace, their destination a promising system that might hold new wonders and new opportunities. To prove that cooperation created miracles, "I love you," she whispered in his ear, her words carrying the weight of their shared future. "I love you too," Marcus replied, knowing that whatever adventures lay ahead, they would face them together as family, as partners, as proof that the universe was vast enough for every kind of love.